What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope everybody's having a great day or night whenever you're watching this. We're going to switch it up a little bit. I want to see how many of you guys absolutely hate my opinion. And I'm going to rank my top 32 NFL wide receivers for this upcoming season. And this is really just my opinion. Honestly, I'm not going to use like 6,000 facts to back it up. It's just my opinion. If I left somebody off the list that you think should have made it on the list, let me know in the comments. But you got to tell me who should be kicked off in their place. And yeah, and a lot of times these videos, they start at like the bottom and then they work to the very top. Let's be honest, y'all. We know who the top like 5 receivers are in the NFL. And so I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's kind of how I want to do this. We're going to work our way all the way down because I think there's a lot of really, really damn good receivers after that top 5 that are really hard to rank. Honestly, that's just what I think. Number 1 for me, and has been for the past like 3-4 years, is Justin Jefferson. I know Jamar Chase had an insane season last year, but I've seen Jettas put up numbers with literally anybody at quarterback, and I think that is the best receiver in football to me. Chase is number 2. They're like 1A and 1B for me, really, in the end of it, but I think Jettas and Chase are 1 and 2. I think that's cool. I think 3 is probably CeeDee Lamb. I think he's really close to A.J. Brown at 4. Notice I'm not really like giving y'all like a whole bunch of backstory between everything. I want to kind of get through this part because this is the top 5 that everybody kind of knows. So CD and AJ are kind of interchangeable at 3 and 4, but I think most people statistically are going to put CD at 3, and I think it's fair. AJ at 4, AJ Brown. And then at 5, I have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's just been one of the most consistent dogs in the NFL, and he's going to get his numbers. He's going to put up numbers. He's going to make clutch plays. That's what he does. But after this, notice how we just get that shit out the way. After this is where it gets fun. Honestly, if you ask me personally, I think Nico Collins is probably the 6th best receiver in the league. There's not too many guys that are his height, his speed, his size that are as elusive as he is and impossible to tackle as he is. He missed several games last year, and he got off to such an insane start that he missed like a month, and people still weren't catching his numbers. That's how dominant he is when he plays. Nico Collins is my number 6. That might be hot take-ish. I think he's fantastic. After Nico, I've got Tyreek Hill at 7. I think Tyreek Hill is basically the fastest, one of the best receivers we've seen in the league in history. But on the tail, kind of probably on that tail end of his career, and there's a little bit of drama surrounding him in Miami right now. But I think at 7 is fair because we still know he can go off for 1,500 yards and 10, 12 touchdowns. He can do that. After Tyreek Hill at number 8. I got Drake London. I think Drake London is one of the more underrated receivers in the league. Had almost 1,300 yards last year. Gonna probably get more touchdowns this year with Michael Penix throwing the ball. In a very fun system, I think Drake London's due for like a huge, massive year. And I think he's gonna kind of climb up in a lot of people's minds here. But I think I've got him at 8. I have Malik Neighbors at 9. I think Neighbors is awesome. I think he got absolutely tombstoned by horrible quarterback play last year. But they've got 3 quarterbacks now. So they've got 3 times the chance of one of them being good, I guess is how you would look at that. So I think Malik Neighbors will have a damn good second year, and I think he's about number 9 for me. Number 10 for me is Brian Thomas Jr., his college teammate. These two are very, very close. I just think Brian Thomas Jr. is in a lot better situation. Trevor Lawrence is at least an above-average quarterback, and I think Brian Thomas Jr. at 10, after, the rookie year he had, I think it's fair. 11, I've got Jackson Smith-Njigba. JSN, that's my dog. I love JSN in the game. I think after last year, it's fair to put him at 11. I don't see, like the guys after him, I would not take over JSN this year. I think that's kind of a lot of what I've kind of thought going in to ranking these guys. Would I take these guys over him? No. So, that being said, at 12, I got Puka Nacua. I think Puka's amazing. He does kind of worry me a little bit with the injury bug. He plays through a lot, but I still get a little cautious with that. At number 13, Devontae Adams. I'm curious. I think his stock has kind of fallen to this point, one, due to age and due to the just travesties of situations he's been in the last 3 years. So Devontae being with the Rams, having Matthew Stafford as the quarterback most likely, as long as Stafford's shoulder or whatever gets ready, I think Devontae could be even higher than 13 at the end of this season, honestly. I think he still has that juice in the tank. But I'm comfortable with him at 13. I would not take him ahead of any of these other guys going into next season. 14, I've got DK Metcalf. I think DK's a dog, going to be first year in the Steelers system. I'm really curious to see how that pairing works with Aaron Rodgers and just the Steelers offense as a whole, because Aaron Rodgers has not been that good the last couple of years. So DK talent-wise is very good. Statistically, I just don't know how dominant it's going to be, and I just wouldn't take him above any of the 13 guys ahead of him, honestly. Number 15, Mr. Consistency himself, Mike Evans. You could argue he probably should be higher. I just think he is getting older, and like if it came down to it and I've got one game that I need my guys to go insane, the other 14 guys I would take ahead of him. That's how I look at it. Now, he's probably still going to get 1,000 yards and still get you 7 or 8 touchdowns. So Mike Evans does. But ultimately, I think with the additions of some, like adding Emeka Egbuka to their team, and then obviously Chris Godwin's going to be back, and obviously Jalen McMillan was pretty good last year. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Tampa. I think Evans is going to be reliable, but I don't think he's going to be as explosive as the other guys, if that's fair. At 16, I got Garrett Wilson. I think talent-wise is why he's 16, because we really have not seen him have above-average quarterback play, and I don't know if he's going to get it with Justin Fields. I'm a big Justin Fields guy, but I'm smart enough to acknowledge the flaws that it might not be great passing the ball for the Jets. It just literally could be like that. Garrett Wilson is an elite talent, but is yet to really break all the way through to like stardom and being like he could easily be a top 10 player at the end of the season if things went crazy for him. But that said, I think going into this season, 16 is about fair with him. There's a lot of variance that he could go insane or he could be mediocre, like given what the QB play could be. So he's a tough one. DJ Moore at 17. I think he's kind of become underrated at this point. Now he does kind of seem to be a diva here and there, but what wide receiver doesn't for the most part. But 17, I think DJ could really go higher on this list depending how he fits into Ben Johnson's system. He plays a lot in the slot. That's where Amon-Ra St. Brown was. So this could look laughable at the end, but we need to see what Caleb Williams can really like turn into year 2, because that's really what's kind of the Bears are really locked into right now. That's all they got. This is their only hope. At 18, I got Terry McLaurin. I just think like statistically, all these other guys will probably be better than him. And there's, I think he's at camp, but he's not practicing because he hasn't got a new contract. Who knows if that's going to get figured out if he ends up holding out and not playing. Jesus Christ, I don't need 14 text messages. Put it in one, please. Terry McLaurin has always been really, really solid, but I don't think he's ever been like a superstar kind of receiver. He's a lot of like Mike Evans for me. I guess that's how I would kind of compare him. 19, I have T. Higgins. T. Higgins, when he plays, is a monster. The difference is that he's going to miss some games. That's kind of the thing that's happened to him in his career. But there's not too many guys that are like 6'5", his size, that are just a massive red zone threat and just a big play monster. T. Higgins is legit. He got paid. Everything's good with him. So he should have a good year. But sometimes you get these receivers that get paid and they just kind of meh the next season. So at 20, I got George Pickens. I think George Pickens could have a really good year given how pass frequent the Cowboys offense has been in years past. But Cowboys offense has new coaching and a new scheme. So I don't know how frequent they're going to be passing the ball. Obviously, it probably depends on the run game, how effective that is. But being opposite CeeDee Lamb should definitely open up the field for him more than what he had. He was pretty damn good in Pittsburgh, but it's the attitude and things like that might hold him back, like on the statistical side and like outside the field too. So he could be phenomenal this year. Like the Cowboy, Dak could throw for 5,000 yards. CeeDee's got 1,800 of them, and Pickens has 1,400 of them. Like there's a very real possibility that happens. But there's also a very real possibility George Pickens punches a coach. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with him. 21, I got Jalen Waddle. He could be a lot higher talent-wise, but he misses a ton of games and gets knocked out of a lot of games, knee injuries and stuff like that. And, yeah, I think he's a really good player, but I just would like to see more availability out of him. I think at 21, that's fair because most of the guys ahead of him are not as prone to certain things and don't miss a lot of games. So, yeah, I'm fair with that. 22, I have Marv. Marvin Harrison Jr. He could very well, at the very end of this season, be in the top 5. The talent everybody knows is there. It's whether or not Kyler and them and offense managed to figure out how to unlock him a little bit more. That's why I got him at 22, because I think he did have a little bit of a letdown as a rookie, especially when you compare him to like Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr., who exploded in poor situations. So Marv is one of those guys that at 22 I think is fair, because I can't predict how much better he's going to be, because there wasn't a whole lot of to go off of as a rookie. Really good, but still unproven. I feel like Neighbors and Thomas Jr. kind of proved like they're dogs. They're here. So kind of why I'm going back to that draft class a little bit. But yeah, Marv at 22 for me. 23, Ladd McConkey. I think Ladd in the Chargers offense is just a perfect fit. He's the new Keenan Allen for them. Really, really surprisingly good big play guy, which is just crazy because he's not the biggest dude in the world. But Ladd is going to be consistent as ever. I'm curious to see how much the field opens up for him with Trey Harris, if he's able to blossom as a rookie. There's a lot of things that could go on there in the Chargers, but they're obviously going to need Ladd to be great, which he was really all we had last year. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when he has a little bit of help and another year of growth and another year of connecting with Justin Herbert. So that should be fun. I've got him at 23 though. Could be a lot higher at the end of the year, but I feel 23 is safe. 24, Courtland Sutton. He's like the tier right below Mike Evans, in my opinion, in terms of consistency. We know what we're going to get with Courtland Sutton. He's going to put up some good numbers. He's going to make some big plays. He's going to make some crazy catches here and there. And he's going to be the top dog in the Broncos offense. So I like Courtland Sutton. I think he's one of the more underrated receivers. And just got a payday, which, hell yeah, good for him. But I think 24 is fair. 25, Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers is one of those guys where I think it's like the scheme does kind of limit how much he can really be involved. But Zay Flowers is one of those guys where you got to get the ball in his hands and good things happen. So the Ravens run the ball a ton. Lamar runs. They have other mouths to feed in that offense. I think 25 is fair for Zay Flowers. Now, 26 and 27. You have one guy that missed most of last season. You have another guy that I think is probably the most underrated receiver in the league. At 26, I'm going to talk about the guy that missed most of last season, Stephon Diggs. He's stepping into a clear wide receiver 1 role with the Patriots. His role is definitely outlined, and I think he could have a great year. We've seen him be amazing, but he is coming off of a torn ACL. That is nothing to slouch at. So I've got him at 26. In years past, he's probably in the top 10, right? But he's going into a new situation, coming off of an injury. There's a lot of risk in that, and who knows how good he still is at this point. I know there's a lot of reports, but reports are reports. They don't always tell the whole story. So 26, I have Diggs. Now, 27, I think, is probably the most underrated receiver in the league, because when you talk about the just really solid, reliable guys, Jacoby Myers does not get brought up enough. The Raiders, with Geno Smith, their offense should be a hell of a lot better. Ashton Genty back there should help. Brock Bowers. That's a really formidable offense with an O-line that's getting better. And I just think Jacoby Myers is that guy that is probably going to go out there next season, have 1,100 yards, have 8 touchdowns, and just be super solid for them. Probably he could do even more. He could be due for like a huge year. I just think he's so consistent what he does, and he's a perfect fit. And Geno loves guys like him, so that'll be fun to watch. I think Jacoby Myers at 27, give him a little bit of love and respect, and I think it's cool there. 28, I have Jayden Reed. The Packers have like 4 or 5 just good receivers on their team. I think Jayden Reed is their clear number 1 right now. Obviously, they drafted the rookie, but I'm more comfortable with Jayden Reed at 28. I think he performs enough, and they get him involved in a lot of different ways with sweeps, screens. He catches a deep ball. He's really good after his first couple of years. I like his game. I loved him in fantasy, but I think Jayden Reed's an underrated receiver. But he's kind of like Waddle, where he gets decked. Like he gets hurt a good amount for what you don't want a receiver to have. So. And now, number 29, this is probably very hot take-ish of where I have him. And he's here solely because of scheme. But Devonta Smith is my 29. Because he's not going to give you 1,500 yards. He's not going to give you 10-plus touchdowns. He's not going to do that. He's going to give you a little over 1,000 yards. He's going to give you some touchdowns. But because of the way the Eagles play with the tush push and Saquon and AJ and you have guys like Goddard, the way they play, Devonta Smith is not really like able to have an insane year. Now, if they didn't have AJ Brown and, you know, maybe had like a lesser running back, I think we would see him probably in that top 12 conversation. But they do have all of that. So he's 29 for me. Just because we know that he's not going to be all pro, more than likely. But we know he's not going to just be a bum all year. We know he's going to make big plays. He's one of the most sure-handed receivers that gets lit up and gets back up. Devonta Smith is probably the least diva-like receiver in the entire league. Because guys with his talent and everything would be screaming for the ball if they weren't getting it. So that's just my take on him. I feel like it is kind of disrespectful that he is this low. But I'm looking at his thing more in scheme and just knowing that he's not really allowed to go outside of a certain realm. At 30, I have Cooper Kupp. I think he's just getting older. New system. I like JSN way more at that point in that system. But Kupp, although he could be really good, misses a lot of games. But when he does play, he's still usually pretty damn solid out there. I don't have many more receivers better than him. Like, after him, I should say. I don't think there's that many that are all that close. I think Chris Olave at 31. He's here a lot of injuries. We know the talent, though. We know how talented he is. It's injuries and the fact that he literally does not have a quarterback. So, Chris Olave is 31 for me. He's one of those guys I've been high on since he was a rookie. That's just my point. That's how I just look at him. And in 32, I have Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. is here a lot of because we don't know what he's going to get out of his quarterback. But we know that he is going to do everything he can to play. We know he's going to lay out for a deep ball. We know he's going to take a huge hit and get back up. We know Pittman's going to leave it all out there. A lot of receivers that aren't on this list will not do what Pittman's willing to do. And he's still really damn good. It's just he's been in a situation where really he has not had a legit quarterback throwing him the ball at really any point. He had like a washed up Matt Ryan. I think he had like a year of Phillip Rivers or Carson Wentz, one of those where like they're just not what you needed to be. And then Anthony Richardson obviously has been erratic, to say the least. And like Joe Flacco is the other option, right? So like he really just hasn't had it. He's kind of just dumbed down by his scheme. But honestly, yeah, I got him at 32. Those are my guys. Those are my top 32 NFL receivers. This is a lot. I really didn't take any breaks in this video, and I'm going straight off the dome for most of this. But if you got somebody else that I did not list, because I'm sure there's going to be some guys. There's going to be some, for sure. Let me know who you would have on the list, but you have to tell me who you would take off. Now, and if you want to change up the order, be my guest. If you've got, Terry McLaurin at 12 and not 18 like I do, let me know. Let me know if I got somebody so fucked up on your list that it needed to be said. So it's just my opinion. I think this is going to be a great season. These receivers are all insane. Like, the NFL receiver position is in such a good place. Now, you'll probably notice I did not include any rookies in this. There's no Ted McMillan. There's no rookies in this because they have not proved anything at the NFL level. I'm not ranking a rookie that I haven't seen play at that level of competition. Now, next year, they'll get ranked. But it's just not something I want to do. I want to see them play. I want to see how they do. All their situations are different. These other guys have done something at this level, at an elite level, that makes them a wide receiver one on most teams in the NFL. And, there's a lot of good stuff to look at in the NFL from this receiver position. But yeah, I'm blabbing. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like this kind of content. Please like the video. I appreciate you for watching. This list is really damn hard to make. There's probably some hot takes in here, but I think it's fair. I think it's good. But let me know in the comments. I'm done.